So the big picture for this lesson is parallel lines and perpendicular lines, and how do you tell whether two lines are parallel or perpendicular, and how can you write an equation for a line that is either parallel or perpendicular. Well, I have two different versions of slope-intercept form. I have y equals mx plus b and y equals nx plus c, and I hope this doesn't confuse you too much. It's the same equation, it's just that the representatives for slope and y-intercept, I use two different letters. Reason being is because in this case they may be different values or they may be the same. So let's talk about parallel first. Now parallel lines have the same rate of change or the same slope. So that means if I was going to write parallel to y equals mx plus b, I would write y equals mx plus d, let's say. Point here is that the m and the m would be the same. It would be the same slope. So if I had a 2 up here for slope, I would have a 2 down here for slope. These would always be the same. And that's what would make them parallel. It doesn't matter what the y-intercept is, the plus b or the plus d, only the slopes matter. So writing an equation that's parallel is very easy. You just have your slope, and then you figure out what the y-intercept needs to be, or you use point slope formula. Remember, that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this one can be very handy to use as well, especially if you're given a point and you're told to make a parallel line. So what if it said to make a parallel to this line through this point over here? Well, what you would do is you would figure out the slope of this line here. Let's say it's 1. And then you'd put in the coordinates of this point here, and that looks like it's 2 and then 2, 9. So you would do this. It would be y minus 9 equals slope of 1 times x minus 2. So then you would just go ahead and simplify that out, and that would give the equation of the line that would be parallel and through this point here. So it would go something like this. Okay, so that's parallel. Perpendicular, the thinking is the same, but the slope is different. Now with perpendicular lines, they form a right angle. Let's see, I'll just do a perpendicular here. And I know they're perpendicular because of a special slope relationship. So if I have two lines with slopes m and n, if you multiply them together, you will get -1. That is true for every pair of perpendicular lines. If you multiply the slopes, you get -1. And another way to think of that is they have to be negative reciprocals. So if my slope m, let's pretend it was 3. Well, what would you need to get -1 over here? You would need -1/3. So that would be the slope of the perpendicular line. So that's what this lesson's all about. Parallel lines, perpendicular lines. That's the big picture.